This is Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. We're here on Xbox Series S. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So it's the long-awaited return of the Test Drive series. It's been about 13 years, I guess, since the most recent entry in the franchise, and it's back with a focus on cars, technical elements of cars, racing and driving and enjoying the vast open world that is, well, basically Hong Kong Island, I guess, created and allowing you to freely drive, explore, and take in the world of, well, test drive. So, kind of neat. You're in what is essentially a seamless multiplayer experience where you are connected and playing with others, 16 players in a lobby set up at a time. You're able to kind of do different like races and challenges and things with others or kind of alone, as you are this contestant that you make in order to enter the Solar Crown competition that's going on. You've got a lady that kind of guides you. There's like clans to join. You build up a reputation level, and you enjoy what's actually like a pretty large landmass here, unlocking different events, doing new challenges, and yeah, kind of taking in the setup and the world of, well, Test Drive, which was always a pretty interesting series back in the day on the 360. And it's really fascinating to see it kind of return after so many years, and in this particular form. I took the absolutely wrong angle to get there, which is kind of funny. Should have kept going down the highway. I guess I could have turned around. Would have been pretty cool to go along there, but we'll hit the city streets. Mostly because I'm trying to show you the different perspectives. So here on the Series S, we're sort of left with a bit of a rougher kind of version of this in terms of like the technicality of it. So we can adjust various things if you go into your options and you go into your further settings. Like you can change like certain gameplay metrics and your controls and your camera options, and there's like FOV option for your avatar too, and then your display settings. But unlike the Series X version, we don't have any sort of like actual option for performance or resolution mode. So it's 1080p at 30 FPS ish. So you're probably gonna see some drops here or there on the Series S. It's kind of murkier than I'm used to. There is HDR support, so that is something. But yeah, I mean we've seen some decently impressive racing games over the years, and this one, like, I think the car models and stuff like that pretty good. I like the sense of creating your character, but the character models themselves look a little dated, and a lot of like there's quite a fair bit of pop-in the environment too, and kind of texture loading, and it's very jaggedy around the edges. I think if you're on the Series S, this is sort of more what you're used to gameplay-wise, but yeah, on the Series X, I actually was hoping for more kind of impressive technical elements. Like, it is cool to explore the open world and everything like that, once again, and do a test drive game, considering it's been so long, but yeah, I don't know, if you're on Series S, it's like, at least, it works, it's open world, racing, driving game. It's just going to be a little tougher because you're dealing with, like, the lower frame rate and stuff like that, which isn't necessarily ideal when you're playing a driving game, at least in my opinion. But yeah, so you get a wide range of challenges, you get all these different ways to play as you compete with other people online if you'd like to, and stuff like that. And the test drive was really interesting. I love how the cars just randomly vanish on the road in front of me, which is kind of funny. The test drive was always kind of about the social components on top of the regular gameplay components, and it kind of feels like this game sort of tries to emulate and capture that, but like the technology around car games has improved and jumped so far ahead in the modern era that it's kind of like a lot less impressive because it's sort of lacking in that sort of like high-end detail and stuff like that, if that makes sense. And then, yeah, kind of a little weird here on the Series S, but you get like, a range of different places, so you get everything from heavy, dense kind of cities with lots of things going on and stuff to run into, and then you're also dealing with like, you know, some beaches, mountainous ranges, like industrial areas, all these different like segments that kind of make up the city, which is kind of cool. And you know, you can set off alone or with your pals, and yeah, it was always kind of a neat racing game that had some other little like hub type areas in that you could explore, but hub type areas particularly run a little sluggish on the Series S, as we were seeing at the beginning of the game. And yeah, I don't know, like it's from like a perspective of scale, it's kind of like cool because like it is a whole full place, but it's just visually and technically not super mind-blowing or impressive, which is a little disappointing. But let's dive in and do some actual races. So you got a variety of different race options, which I mean I don't think is too much of a surprise for a racing game in the modern era, right? There are a lot of these out there, and open world racing games too nowadays. So you can do regular racing, where you're trying to do laps and compete and become first. Then there's like certain trials, and then there's little environmental type interactions, like little things in the world too, that you'll kind of run into. And yeah, and then there's weathering conditions on top of that, so you know it might be raining, and then there's the day-night cycle, so it does kind of hit the mark on all those sort of metrics. And like honestly, it is really ambitious to attempt to make like a new racing game that's open world like this in the modern era, especially since it's, I think it's, what is it, Nacon or something like that, so they're probably punching a little bit, or trying to punch a little bit above their weight class on development on this one. But yeah, it leaves a lot to be desired, I would say. But the Series S version is like, to me, particularly rough in the sense that it's just not great looking and feeling, and there's definitely like not the best of performance levels. And like you get the full detailed world, right? Like there's a lot of buildings, there's a lot of like trees, a lot of things in the environment, so it makes sense. But there's just something about like the design of it that kind of makes me feel like it's sort of really aged, if that makes sense. Like it feels like something that would be more on the last gen consoles. So it is kind of weird that it is here and it's sort of struggling, as to say, which was a bit of a surprise. Yeah, it's genuinely intriguing to see this one, because I liked Test Drive back in the day. I do think it stands out as a really interesting racing series, and it's kind of a fascinating one to sort of drum up, because I'm sure there's like a little bit of nostalgia to some degree for some, but I also do assume that there's, you know, kind of a whole generation of people that do racing games that have really no idea what it is, what the franchise is. But like, yeah, it actually stretches back pretty far, gaming-wise, like historically. And then on top of that, you know, in the 360 era, it was when it started getting all of these like kind of multiplayer integrations and stuff like that. So it is interesting that this is sort of their approach to bringing back the series, as you would kind of want to come in, I think, a little bit stronger out of the gate, especially since there's been, outside of like the visuals, you know, performance, everything like that, a lot of technical issues in regards to their like servers and kind of getting everything running smoothly in that, which can be a bit of a problem if you're trying to like connect it and play the game properly. It definitely gets a little frustrating to deal with, for sure, right? And like it's all right, you know, for sure. Like it's a fine racing game. There's more than enough activities to do. It's just also not necessarily too thrilling or like fully providing like edge of your seat action, if that makes sense. I just feel like driving games have really sort of almost left this series behind a little bit, which is a shame. Since they were doing such interesting things with it. Did I just do this race? Goods transportation time attack. Target time 220. Oh, maybe we should do that.
You have arrived.
Sure. Let's do it. At least there's lots of racing options. And like the HUD and stuff, again, very jaggedy around the edges because it's lower resolution, but we saw that on the Series X side of things as well. And then you can really kind of see like the HUD feels almost like a little aged and cartoonish. Like, kind of reminds me of Blur, but Blur's from a long time ago. It's like I don't mind the integrated UI stuff. It's just like, I don't know, there's something like kind of off a little bit about it. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, at least I guess a wide variety of cars, and then you can do all these like technical things with your cars. Like you could kind of, you know, use like the window wipers and stuff if you want. And that was always to me kind of the interesting part of the test drive series, was that you were actually able to like enjoy the really in-depth technical and mechanical parts of the vehicles. And they've kind of, I think they did bring that part of it back pretty well, but I'm just assuming that a lot of people are going to have way higher standards for what they want a racing game to be in the modern era and what they want from it. And it's really going to be intriguing to see the overall kind of response to the series after so long, because yeah, it's just like time has really gone by. I'm actually surprised they waited so long between entries. I don't know if it's because the last test drive didn't do as well, which I'm assuming was the case, or some kind of ownership thing or something like that. Really quite hard to say after so long without looking into it. Like, seriously, this is the part where I unbelievable. But there are lots of things you can run into and stuff like that. Missed checkpoint. Well, yeah, I know I'm going the wrong. This is why we have rewind features, right? I clicked the wrong thing. But yeah, it's just like from a tech standpoint, it is interesting to try to bring this back, because like you can see the complexity of the environment, right? Like there's lots of like barrels and little things you can interact with and stuff like that, but it's just such a low resolution and not even hitting its frame rate target, which isn't spectacularly high, and like some low texture quality things like for loading in textures and that. It's just kind of like a weird kind of mix up. And there's usually music playing, but obviously I've turned that off because, you know, YouTube and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Really weird situation on this one, I gotta say. Like, I kind of like the scope and the thing that they were trying to achieve with this one, but I am curious if this is not going to fully be something that people are, like, into just because there's so many other racing options that exist. And there's so many, like, kind of problems surrounding this one. Because I don't even know that many people that still kind of know what test drive is. Like I've heard of it, played it, and stuff like that. And others, I don't even know if they will have played it, let alone actually even heard of it. Kind of coming out of it from like a context of like someone that's not, you know, that plays racing games or isn't like really familiar with the sort of historical element of this one, which is intriguing. Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's kind of odd because I like that it's back and I like little parts of it, but I also see definitely where there's some elements of this one that don't fully hold up, and I wonder if that is a little bit of like the developers trying to again punch above their weight. And do you notice that there's like a flickering line at the bottom of the screen? That's really weird. I did not see that on the Series X side of things. That is a very strange kind of issue. I wonder what is causing that. It's like a flickering at the bottom of the screen. Very, very strange. I think it's like an effects thing. Like, they do have all of the mechanics of, like, modern racing games. You know, the detail of the cars and sitting inside a little car and interacting with everything modeled was pretty cool, but you can do that in a lot of the racing games. And they got all the weathering conditions, the day-night cycling, the open world that you can explore. The details of that open world, lots of trees, lots of things. But it's like targeting such lower frame rates and resolutions, and then character models and stuff are weird. Because like, it'd be cool if the social interaction of it was a little fancier in terms of like fidelity in that. Because it's like, I know those parts are silly. Oh no, not again. I feel like I just did this last night where I like totally lost the race from jumping off like that. Oh, that was so foolish of me. I didn't... Corners hit you harder than you think. Because like the social stuff could be really neat, but it's not the backbone, right? Because you build off of the fact that this is a racing driving game, and that's kind of just like a little bit of a background to the fun of this. Because that was the idea of Test Drive, was like, at least in the 360 area, looking back, was you had this intense set of racing options and all that, and then behind that you could also have like a little series of fun interactive points and things you could do. But it seems like you're still earning stuff pretty fine here. Gathering... Oh, come on, you should give me that corner there. Gathering money, influence, stuff like that, and then being able to go out and, you know, fancy yourself up, buy new cars, get access to new things. See the world for what it has to offer. Yeah, it's an interesting return approach. But one that left a little... Yeah, again, a little bit more to be desired. How are you still... And you can fine-tune and performance enhance your cars too, which I'm assuming is the issue here. Because, like, how does that car get so far ahead of me? If that makes sense. I just, like, where did that acceleration come from is the biggest question. Just zipped up right by me. Yeah, I don't know about the character models. It's kind of like they look fine, but also so last gen and so dated. It's weird. So much of this game is kind of weird to me, is the biggest thing, where I'm just kind of like, huh. Very, very strange things that they did with this one. At least it like transitions quickly between what you're doing and the things you're seeing and stuff like that. I guess that's kind of appreciated. Okay, where's the parts person? Yeah, at least they let you fast travel inside places and that. They don't waste your time, which I appreciate. Like, there's definitely some elements of it where it, like, you know, some games that kind of like take forever to like load into sections and stuff like that. And yeah, at least they definitely don't waste your time at all, which is nice. Create a new driving model. I want to enhance my car. You know what I mean? Like, I want to upgrade this thing. Oh, free money just sitting there. I got solar coins. That's nice. There is a lot of, like, I don't know how to describe it, little tedious things in trying to do stuff too. Change vehicle, but I don't want to really change my vehicle. I want to upgrade my vehicle, view car. It's just hard to really appreciate those viewing angle things when it's such a low resolution experience. If that makes any level of sense. The Ford Mustang. It'd be cooler to do this menu side stuff. I guess I could buy another car instead of just like upgrading things, because like a lot of stuff is like locked. Like everything I want to do to make my car better is like not available to me, which is kind of a pain, right? Like, I want to make you better, but I literally am not allowed to, which drives me crazy. Commotion in the commercial area. Man, there always is. It's always a struggle to get anything done. The American dealership. I bet they'd have good cars there. Is there a way to fast travel a little closer to that thing? No, I can't fast travel because I gotta... Okay. Well, I mean, it's not explored, so obviously you're not going to be able to fast travel, right? But anyways, I hope this kind of showcased it, at least running on the Series S a bit, so you get an idea of the condition, shape, and everything of that. And kind of get an idea of how it's looking in that. Like, I see where they were going with this one, and some of it is impressive and neat, and some of it I think is maybe a little lacking, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a tougher sell for people in the modern era, but hopefully Test Drive will live on and kind of get changed over time would be kind of neat too.